Alright everyone, I figured it was time for a little bit of a further Bitchute update here because, I get access to certain metrics and banter before others do, before it's necessarily public, and I just wanted to point out that I'm extremely optimistic. When the year began, I was optimistic about the platform, as I am with all the alt-tech sites. They're all growing, they're all doing well. Some of them grow in leaps and bounds, others more steady growth, like Bitchute tends to be more at this point, I think, steady and organic in its growth. Over the last, 6 months or so, I've gone from being somewhat optimistic to extremely optimistic, and part of that is based on, I know Dave Cullen made a video many months ago, and Bitchute had been, 25% funded, so only the basic ability to do anything was there. Very quickly after he did that, I made a video about it, and a few others did, and it hit 40-45% within a week. And now it's at 75% funded, which is the threshold to have them develop their own commenting platform, which is something that they've had in the works, actually, I believe, for several years, but it was sort of a shelved project because there's so much else to do. They've got new servers. It's definitely faster and more stable. And I'd like to point something out. And there's a link in the description. The first link will be to their fundraising page. I support them on Subscribestar. I'm a supporter. I donate to them. You can too. They accept crypto of various kinds. Crypto wallet, And the second one will be to my channel. I just hit 91,000 subscribers, by the way, on the platform. So we're getting pretty close to the next foothill having been climbed. And in the future, of course, I expect the possibility of hitting 1 million subscribers on there. It could come to the point, based on growth differentials, that I end up with more people following me on Bitchute than on YouTube. It took me It took me the first 7 years of content creation, I think, or 8 years in order to hit this threshold on YouTube to get close to 100K. Largely, it was Sargon making his due diligence video that tipped that over the edge. Here, it's growing quickly, and I'd like to tell you one bit of optimism here. Bitchute's only a few years old. It's equivalent to YouTube in, 2006 or something. YouTube in 2006 was already run by Google, but it was still a bungled mess of fuck. Loading times, you probably don't even remember the days of watching the little bar say buffering, but I do. It didn't even have, I think, 480 at the time. YouTube was, at the time, quite primitive. It was insolvent, arguably, although Google doesn't really like to disclose its metrics and its figures, or it redacts them heavily. It's heavily classified information pertinent to national security, since they're also a spying platform like TikTok at this point. But YouTube, back in 2006 or 7, a lot of buffering, a lot of problems with upload stability, site stability. Sometimes the site would basically crash, it would slow down randomly. The upload feature would fail repeatedly. It was awful. Bitchute, despite the fact that it has issues, the search feature still needs to be fixed. The app BitSlide exists and is better. It's improved now, and I think they're tinkering with it further. But it's not perfect. There are still problems with it. Despite that, it's still more stable than YouTube was at the same point in its existence. And Bitchute has managed to become a top 1,000 website despite the fact that it's competing against a mainline competitor. YouTube didn't have any major competitor. There were other sites like MetaCafe and Dailymotion stuff existed, but YouTube, within the scope of a single year, really took off and had most of the market share. YouTube still does. Despite that, YouTube alternative Bitchute manages to hit, I don't even know how many active daily users, but it's a significant number of people cranking out a significant number of content, and in many cases at this point, exclusive content. I make a Bitchute exclusive every single day. If you're just following me on YouTube or something, you're not even getting all of my videos. One video a day is just on Bitchute, where you can be a little bit more edgy. I'll also, by the way, be making library exclusives soon. I support their site too. So don't think that I'm being down on them by being so optimistic about Bitchute. It's just sort of my opinion here. I would ask that you support them if you can. Although for some people right now times are tough due to the Dem-pression. Which, by the way, unfortunately, I think is going to get a lot worse before it gets better, but I hope I'm wrong. And you can definitely subscribe to me there for the exclusives. It's again, at the beginning of the year, I wouldn't have judged that it would have this growth level. Bitchute, by the end of the year, will probably have twice as many active users as it does right now. It'll probably be 100% funded by the end of the year, at this rate of growth. Just this month, I mean, last month I think they were approaching 70, and now it's at 75% funded as of this morning. And it'll probably be more by the end of the day. Maybe it's 80%, who knows. It takes a significant amount of resources, but when your site is then getting hundreds of thousands or millions of involved users, it makes it a lot more easy for you to do that kind of fundraising, because some of those people have the means to actually donate. The larger the site gets, the more visibility potentially it has, the more users it organically begins to absorb from other sites. And the other thing is this. Here's what I would say. I've seen multiple hit pieces written about Bitchute over the last month. For a while, there was nothing but quiet. Now they're getting hit pieces about them again. That's not coincidental that their fundraising has skyrocketed over the last month and that they've managed to crack the top 1,000 on Alexa. That is definitely linked to why there are Bitchute hit pieces being made. The hit pieces are designed to try to stymie the hemorrhage of users from more censored sites to Bitchute because they're terrified that it'll become dominant. They're terrified that it will actually become a dominant website. As in not just a competitor, but a dominant competitor, one that's beyond their ability to actually deplatform. Once a site or service becomes popular enough, unless you can formulate a legal reason to ban them, you'd piss off too many people. It becomes impossible. I think they're worried about it breaking containment. The quicker we can get that to happen, the better. It's good to be top dog on a platform actually capable of doing this. Could be an entirely new tech paradigm. And people, it's just like people who looked at Bitcoin when it was like 10 cents a piece and said, well, that's screwy and stupid. Yeah, I could throw $1 into getting some Bitcoin, but why would I bother? It's never actually going to take off as an idea. Hell, now you can go to the store and use Bitcoin half the time. Attach it. Can't you attach your crypto to like Google Pay and stuff like that and use that in most stores that take have those little electronic readers? I don't know if you can, but I think so. There are places in some of the more major urban centers where Bitcoin is traded freely. Of course, because it's counted as both a currency and an asset, a physical asset, it's double taxed. So it doesn't really make sense to use it for most purposes and microtransactions and shit, I guess, but otherwise, maybe not yet. That'll take off further, I think, too. I'm still holding my crypto. Not without good reason, and plenty of it. Less Ethereum, although that's the one I think the government was talking about trying to basically nationalize. No clue whether that would make it more or less valuable. I suppose it depends on how much they decide to tinker with it and what the taxation rate on transactions is. But anyway, I definitely believe Bitchute will be a major player in the coming years. Yeah, I say that without hesitation, unless it gets completely nuked from orbit. But the thing is, it's kind of already gotten to the size, I think, where it'd be really difficult to do that. The hit pieces are definitely designed to try to get it deplatformed. I mean, they're trying to... really, though, they're not even talking about trying to fully deplatform it now. They've switched to a different tactic, which is just, block their links on social media sites. Twitter needs to start blocking Bitchute links. That won't go over well. You see, individuals like me that are intelligent will simply pop that link in somewhere else and then use the other link. Perfectly, you can do that sort of thing. It's just a one-step process. An extra 10 seconds a day to ensure that my audience has access to those exclusives? Absolutely. That's about all. Peace out.